to last year. So this is of this year's sports day. Last year, there was a boy who had come first in 2017 in one of these races. And when he was racing this year, another friend of his fell down. What did the winner do? He carried his friend till the gate. He could have just carried forward the race and won, but he did not do that. Because essentially human beings are noble, they are spiritual. And if they are conscious about it, if the education makes them conscious about it, the result is in children such as these. You know, in New Era, we have removed the victory podium. We said, human beings are all made of the same dust. We are all from the same source. So how can I stand above the other? We cannot. Because we are made from the same dust. Yes, I may have won the race 5 seconds before you, but that does not give me the right to think I am above you. We are all equals. And hence, we removed the victory podium completely, and we have come up with this board called as congratulations. It's really difficult to make the parents understand. But slowly, we are having conversations with them that your child may have won a gold medal, they have won a silver medal. At the same time, they have excelled in sports rather than winning over each other. Also, as it's a co-ed boarding school, one of the other fundamental issues of existence is the soul of a man and a woman is the same. Hence, we give equal opportunity to both girls and boys in the school in all forums. The next element that I would like to talk about is the approaches and methods that all of us take up in our institutions. Yes, we appreciate character development, but what are the methods and what are the approaches that we take in order to help that character development see the light of the day? So some of the approaches and some of the methods that we can think about is, I don't know if you can read. So it says whether we as who are heading the institution wants to be the center of all activities. Do we want to work alone or do we tend to collaborate with others? Whether we need to be in control of everything, or are we willing to bow down to group decision? Are we creating an atmosphere of competition or fostering cooperation? Do we keep on repeating the mistakes, or do we learn from our experiences? These are some of the questions that we need to think about as our institutions if we are planning to redefine education. This is another very cute picture which I love, which is again from this year itself. So this is a primary boy being helped by a middle school child to complete a race. Sports is this arena wherein, because it's a boarding school and because it's Panchkani, we have the leverage, amazing sports ground and wonderful sports stadiums because of the lavishness of the place that we have. So we have a lot of examples from sports itself, which is actually tending to be very competitive, but we can show our spiritual nature in that arena as well. You know, this is another example. When we used to award individuals, we used to get 1 or 2 people receiving an award. So you can see a girl and a boy receiving an award from the DSP of that place. Then we started to think, are we again glorifying individuals? Because we are thinking about our approach and our method that we have to develop in our schools. So we said, if we are glorifying individuals, is this the right method? And then what we did was, we started to glorify service. We said anyone who does service during the year will receive an award. And now, since last 3 years, you see a bunch of 24 children, 24 students receiving award for service. Because no more a student was glorified, but service was glorified. So this is the way we can think about our approaches and methods to redefine our education system. Even in the Children's Annual Appreciation Day, we give prize for their each and every kind act that they must have shown during the year. Another thought of approach is, how are we dealing with the other schools in our neighborhood? So I believe CMS itself has 18 branches. So how is our mode of interaction, collaboration? I just saw a wonderful principal, Ms. Abha, being wished for birthday, and all the principals hugging and meeting each other with so much love. If that's the approach, we are in the right way to redefine education. Even in Panchgani, it's a small town with 42 schools. And we wonder, are we really competing with each other, or we are working towards education of students? And we decided that no, we are working towards education of students. And hence, New Era High School students go to other schools to conduct these service projects and classes so that we foster collaboration even between the schools of Panchgani. So this girl, if you see her, she is actually dyslexic, does not have parents, extremely rich, could have gone haywire in a wrong path as well. But it's only this true education, this redefined education, that has cultivated in her the spirit of service towards humanity. And this is one of the pictures of her, wherein she's helping another school student. This is from another school of Panchgani. I think they're doing a service activity to make a sandwich for some orphanage. I'm almost on the last slide. Please have patience with me, friends. So, this is a group which we spoke about in the beginning, that do we see ourselves as kings and queens of our school? Or are we working in this group mode where we come together weekly, we reflect, even if it's a group of teachers, they prepare together, do they think about the questions they are learning? So this is a group of New Era High School which comprises of the academic panel and the moral team who comes together weekly, and they are redrafting the vision of the school. New Era High School has a tagline which says, "For the betterment of the world," which has been there for the last 60 years. But now what we are doing is redefining that to understand what does betterment of the world mean. So we are redefining our vision, making it larger, that what do we mean that we stand for the betterment of the world, and hence we are redefining the education. This is one of the prayers that the students say every day. And the prayer says that I'm asking God to aid me in that which will cause the affairs of thy servants to prosper and thy cities to flourish. So in our daily prayers also, if we teach our students not to ask for wealth and car and material things from God, rather we ask them to ask for strength to serve the society, to help our cities to flourish, to help our neighborhoods to have material as well as spiritual progress. That's when we redefine education. This was a prayer revealed by Baha'u'llah. So friends, thank you very much. That was just a glimpse of New Era High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Suniti Jha, and I congratulate you for such an excellent presentation and also finishing it within the time of 20 minutes or so. Thank you very much. Now we have an open session of 20 minutes where audience is free to ask questions. But before we do that, I request co-chair Mrs. Joshi to say a few words.
Beautiful presentation, which is very much in line with our own school's philosophy. One, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and the second one that we follow is that education and school must concern itself with the affairs of the age. Competition probably at some point of time was important for humanity. Therefore, it has been going on for so long. But now the time has come when we have realized that without cooperation, we cannot go ahead. And therefore, we have realized the need to redefine the quality of education. And that is precisely the reason why we are all together over here today, to see and think and deliberate over the new approaches that are there present in the system of, our system of education, how to bring about these small little changes that are going to take our students a long way in making sustainable existence and relationships with each other. We have to, actually, you very beautifully pointed out that man is not primarily competitive. He is primarily a feeling, collaborating, cooperating being. And it's when he does this, it's then that he feels happiness, it's then that he feels fulfillment of his own life. And the children need to be taught that. What I was wondering a little about is that in your school, which is a boarding, in the evenings you have time for the students to work with each other. In the daytime, probably they are competing with each other, and in the late afternoons or in the evenings, they are working together. Whereas we have the day school, when we have the students with us only in the daytime, when they are competing with each other. So, what are the ways? I was just wondering. Maybe some others are also thinking about the same, and may not be, that how to bring about this feeling of cooperation and collaborative efforts within the framework of a very competitive atmosphere that is there in our education system. Please.
You know, it's a different challenge altogether when we have a group of 900 boys and girls for 24 hours with them. So I have a son of 5.5 months whom I've got for this conference. Handling him alone with the family support itself is so challenging. I wonder, how do teachers do that with 35 students for 9 hours during the day, and in our case, 24 hours during the day. I'll just give a simple example that why this competition does not necessarily have to be there during the morning hours when we have academics. You know, elocution is one of the very important aspects in every school for enhancing the power of expression, for enhancing English, and in order to lead to better academics. What I was talking about is redefining our approaches and methods. We started to think that these same boys and girls live together in the dormitory. They stay together as best of friends. And in the morning, next day morning, they get up and they compete with each other that who speaks better than the other. We changed the elocution itself. We no more had a competition in elocution, and we called it elocution presentation. And believe me, all of them worked hard. All of them presented beautifully with no competitive feeling at all in the morning. So this was just an example.
Thank you. I once again invite members of the audience, please, to, if they have any questions, and I'm sure they'll be having lots of them, to pose it to Mrs. Jha. Yeah, please.
Have lesson plans. They have modified, and I sincerely hope teachers have lesson plan. Every great thing has to be done in a planned way, but I wonder, how can we teach children without a plan? So a lesson plan helps me to know what am I going to do tomorrow when I go to the classroom. Now the lesson plans are modified in a manner where the values that I'm going to bring out is also borne out there. So what are the values that I'm going to address? How am I going to teach them? What questions am I going to ask? What kind of activities am I going to carry out? And give them importance. And that's the only way this will happen. The lesson plan, the all-important lesson plan. Methodology. Anything you do other than rote learning is good. Rote learning is mugging up things and writing answers. Stop that. Whatever else you do will work. So that's the thumb rule for classroom teaching. A little bit more. Here are some examples. History. history, geography, language. Language is the richest source of value. Poems, stories, all there. Science. You know, I love this example that somebody gave me. In one of the lesson plans, my teacher, while teaching refraction, you know what is refraction? When light passes from a rarer medium to a denser, it bends. So there's this illusion that light bends. It's an illusion. And this teacher related this to examples of superstition and prejudice and all of that. You know, in reality, we have many illusions in life. Brilliant. And all it takes is 1 minute or so. And we bring out values from history. There's so much that can be taught about geography, unity, interdependence, and all of that. So suddenly, reinforcement increases. Apart from that direct approach, now every teacher goes and brings out one value or the other, year-round, day after day, week after week, and period after period. We can expect better results. I wish to talk about cooperative learning here. Mr. Garg asked about competition. How are we going to do away with competition? Friends, if we have a problem, we cannot find separate solutions to those problems. We have to realign the things that we are doing normally to fix the problem. Otherwise, we are creating dichotomies. If we have too much of competition in our schools, then we have to change everything to address that, not to do something extra in addition to fix it. It'll never happen. What I suggest is please investigate. I'm not saying adopt it. It's very difficult to adopt, mind you. Cooperative learning is very difficult. Please investigate about cooperative learning, structural approach to cooperative learning. If this is used more and more in classrooms, you will find children become more and more cooperative, because that's the whole purpose of it. That's why it was created. So this is one way of doing it. So if you want to teach maths, if you want to teach any of the subject, use cooperative learning. First of all, what cooperative learning is not should be clarified. Many times when I talk about cooperative learning, the first thing teachers say, yes sir, we know, we do it, we have it in our school. Friends, cooperative learning is not just getting a group of children to work on a project together. Most of the time you'll find these children start fighting with each other because they don't know the rules of the game. Or you will find that dominant children are dominating the others and not allowing everyone to participate. But that's against the principles of cooperative learning. It's universal participation. Everybody has to participate. So cooperative learning is not just about getting people to work together. There are certain rules. There are some laws to be followed. It has to be structured. Children work in heterogeneous groups. They are mixed up based on gender, background, religion, social status, and all of that. And that's where cooperation actually comes alive. It has to be learned, it has to be practiced, it has to be mastered, it has to be structured. It cannot be loosely coordinated and we have cooperative learning. It doesn't happen. And as I said earlier, now you have to also redo the entire classroom environment. The classroom management tools, the classroom discipline, and class rules, and all of that have to be rewritten for cooperative learning to work. Now, if you do all of this, there's a little bit also about cooperative game. You know, in the morning we played the game, Follow the Leader. That's a cooperative game. In cooperative learning, we call it All of Us All at Once. And there are hundreds of such games. These games are non-competitive. There's no competition. No one loses. No one is ever out. It's suitable for all age groups. It can be used for learning content. There are cooperative games for maths. You want to teach maths, mathematical concepts, there are cooperative games for them. Intensity level, there are some that will make you sweat like you've run a 100-meter sprint. And there are some that you can carry out sitting and leisurely. Cooperative game. And they're fun. There are studies done by the University of Ottawa that have said that if you want to improve the moral education environment of your institution, your school, if you don't do anything else and introduce and structure cooperative games, you will get those results. just by playing cooperative games. And you will find that children actually become more moral. I ask you, if children learn to collaborate with each other, what are the values required for being able to cooperate together? Children begin to develop those qualities and more. What are the benefits of cooperative learning? Here, team building and cooperation. Think about it. What are the values? What are the attitudes required? It begins to happen. And there are thousands of reports. Please do a Google search. Please do, and don't take my word for it. Do a Google search on cooperative learning, structural approach to cooperative learning, and find out for yourself. And these are the benefits of it. They break down differences. Social skills are enhanced. Thinking skills. Children are discussing things all the time in groups, therefore they are bound to think. They have to think. Communication skills develop. Children actually begin to do better in their studies. Their language skills become better. Their English improves because everything is happening in English. So these are the byproducts of it. And better comprehension, and they remember things longer. And of course they enjoy it. You're giving more power to the children. They enjoy what they are doing. So please explore the possibilities of adopting cooperative learning in your schools. It not only will help your academic environment and achievements, but also will directly affect the value environment of the school. These are some of the challenges for the integrated approach. Everybody has to participate in this. You cannot have some teachers doing it and some don't. So there is some work to be done there. Time factor here means that many times I have found out teachers will come and say, sir, this is all very good, talking about values and using cooperative learning. But you know what, sir? It takes a lot of time. I have to finish the portion. I have to complete the portion. There are exams coming up. How can I do it? This is an illusion. All of this takes very little time. And in fact, many times when we don't teach well, we have to repeat things with children. We have to revise with them again. I promise you, you're saving time. With cooperative learning, if you teach them once well, you don't have to go back and teach it again. You're saving time. So, where was I? So, as much as we can talk about cooperative learning is less. There is much more to it than all of this. I have to wait for this to come back on till. Anybody has any questions so far? Maybe we can. Okay, so here it's back on. Right. Participative interaction, classroom management has to change, classroom discipline has to change, teacher-student relationship is something that has to change if cooperative learning is to work. And these are the challenges. Coming now to the whole school. Now, reinforcement level goes higher. Now we come out of the classroom. Till now we were in the classroom. Now everything else. Friends, values are everywhere. In the whole school, everywhere we have opportunities for reinforcing values in our children. First of all, we begin with the leadership, with me, right up there. What are my values? Am I careful? Am I, we question our own self and all of that. Then we look at the school policies, the norms, the regulations, the vision of the school. Is there anything at all that is not aligned with the values that we wish to promote among our children? That has to change. That realignment will have to happen. So this, by the way, is an ongoing thing. So this is something important. Then we look at our discipline management. We cannot go and bring about a lot of fear and anger and frustration and hope that children will improve their morals. So that has to be redefined. And then finally, every single thing that happens in the school. Look at what I've written over there. Transport. Forget about the classroom. Forget about the moral education teacher. Do you know who is the first moral education teacher of the school? It's the bus driver. This child at 5, I don't know how early they leave, 6, 7 in the morning, gets into the bus. The bus driver is in a foul mood, bad mood, and is using bad language in front of the children. It's done. Now forget about value education for the rest of the day because the wrong values have been taught to the child. Somebody will have to get all these people, the gardener, the watchman, the conductor, everybody, and talk to them regularly. Orient them about values. So you are a value. As long as children are in touch with people, they are value education teachers. That's the whole school. How do we conduct the morning assemblies? What goes on in the library? What is happening during breaks and recess? What is happening during games time? Cultural activities and all of that. We need to carefully look at all of that. And then we can hope that things will become better and they will reinforce the kind of values that we really want. And again, we cannot emphasize enough staff modeling. Staff modeling meaning the example that we set for the children to follow. Everything said and done, if we are saying something and doing something, it'll never work. Let me give you an example. This is something that I've actually seen. There's a 35-minute value education class where children are learning about kindness to animals. Yes? Bell rings, children pour out of the class, they come in the playground, and what do they see? They see the gardener with a stick running after a dog and hitting him. Why? Because this dog messed up his flower bed. Now I ask you, which of this will have a more profound effect on the young minds? That 35-minute theoretical lesson on kindness to animals, or what they're actually seeing out there? Staff modeling is something that is the final frontier, and if we cannot ignore that. A last word of advice. This is something we keep doing in our school, and there are a few other schools that I'm aware of that they are doing. Friends, once in a while, please get everybody together in your school and clarify some of the concepts that are related to a school's functioning. For example, who are we as human beings? We have been talking about this since morning. What is human reality? Is it just this body, or is it more than that? What is the purpose of our life? How many of us have actually asked this question in our lifetime? How many parents do that with their children? So once in a while, what is our interrelationship with each other? What are the aims and objectives of education? Friends, how many of us have done B.Ed? Many of us have done B.Ed and these specialized courses, but we still struggle today to understand what is the purpose of education. What are the characteristics of an ideal school? What are the characteristics of an ideal teacher? How do students learn? How do we motivate somebody to do something great? I mean, if our children are motivated, then we have achieved a lot. Friends, if we identify and we redefine periodically these ideas for ourselves, you will yourself discover inconsistencies. Okay, wait a minute. I know that human beings have been created noble, but then we have a whole lot of students who are acting in a manner that is not noble. Why? So we try to find out. And then we find that there is something wrong. If a noble person is acting in a manner that is not noble, it is because of the environment of that person. It's because of the training that that person is receiving. It's because of the education that that person is receiving. A little course correction is done over there. Wait a minute. The purpose of education is this, but here something else is happening. So there we have a problem. So everybody, come on, let's fix this. Then we have to align. Education is supposed to bring everybody together and carrying forward an ever-advancing civilization, but here they are in cutthroat competition with each other. Something wrong. Let's fix it. Please carry out periodically this exercise of redefining and questioning your own understanding of these basic concepts once in a while. It's very revealing, very educative. Some challenges again for the whole school approach. The first is, of course, many times we don't do anything because we can't agree on one common set of values. You know, NCRT, Mrs. Wahedi would know, the NCRT was struggling to get its act together with value education for nearly 10 years because they could not agree on which set of values to promote. Traditional values, cultural values, Vedic values, universal values, which values? It doesn't matter. Go ahead, take any value and it'll take you somewhere. So don't waste too much time with that. Please invest the time and effort that it requires. And I promise you, it takes a lot of effort. but it's worth it because it's a priority. Everybody in the school has to get involved in value education. Everybody without exception, right from the bus driver to the principal. And be at it. We need to be at it all the time. We need to be consistent. One teacher comes and does something, another one comes and does something, will not work. There has to be consistency in doing that. Please address the issue of too much competition. And I have only one solution for too much competition. Friends, if you cannot reduce the instances of competition, please increase the instances of cooperation. That's the only way it can work. You cannot change the manner in which examinations are conducted. You cannot change the manner in which sports and games are conducted. So you have one option, have more cooperation, which is why cooperative learning, which is why other things that we can, cooperative games and a lot of other things. But please address that. That's a big challenge. And of course, innovation and creativity. I think somebody did mention it in the morning about innovation and creativity. All of this requires us to do something different. Therefore, a culture of creativity and innovation needs to abound in our school. This itself is a big subject that requires a lot of thought. We need to learn, we need to understand how things happen, and friends, let's be patient with each other over the mistakes that we commit. We are very, very impatient with mistakes. All of this is new for many of us, and we need to be patient with all of that. Next step, please document. If you get started with something, please write them down. There'll be a repository of knowledge for you. Next step, reach out to the parents. Mrs. Vaidya can ask this question. Reach out to the parents. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. We fix things in the school. If the home environment is also aligned to the school, light upon light. Children learn better. So there's a lot of work to be done there as well. And of course, service activities is what we heard about from Neura School, is where it comes later, where this cognitive part of everything comes together. So friends, thank you so much for your patience. If you have any questions that you would like, not here, but if you need any help, my email ID is there. If you need any help, you would like to know a little bit more about the things that can be done, I'll be happy to assist in that manner. Thank you so much.
I'm Shogi for your very comprehensive presentation on